Libra, welcome. 2023 March, the much anticipated days of 2023 in which Pluto is changing signs along with the planet Saturn. Big shifts in your sky, but also some really good news because Venus, the Lord of your sky, is moving into her home sign during the month of March, and that always benefits you, in this case, financially. Let's get talking about Libra, what you have going on in March of 23. And as we get going in this 30-minute video, please don't forget, if you are new to my channel, to hit the like button and to subscribe. It does help my channel grow. And if you need to know anything else about me, my name is Lori Lothe, and I'm a whole sign house astrologer using the Hellenistic and Western tropical zodiac. I am not a sidereal astrologer. This is not Indian astrology. As well, you might consider checking my description box below, because if you want to take classes with me, how about Be Your Own Astrologer, Time Your Best Life? That class is starting up pretty darn soon in the month of March. It's 8 weeks long. You can get in my newsletter or even join my Patreon community where you get all this content ad-free ahead of everybody else that I put on YouTube. Every single thing you see on YouTube gets to Patreon first, as well as 2 Zoom meetings a month with me, perks on my readings, discount codes for my classes, and more. So all the information about everything is in my description box under the title of the video. Let's get rolling. I am going to change the backdrop for you. I want to do that so that if you're looking at this, you'll understand that it is you. We're talking about Libra. So Libra, first thing I want to talk about for you by far is the fact that you're going to have Saturn, Lord of space and time and karma and discipline, focus, and perseverance, moving into your natal 6th house. And this is a shift that is going to happen again 30 years from now and would have happened 30 years ago. But there are a lot of planets doing a lot of different things in the sky that make this special. Most importantly, Neptune. So Neptune has been in your 6th house of work, of service, of debt, of pets and tenancies, and sometimes even dating, because it precedes the 7th. But it's debt in the sense that this is a house of indentured servitude, right? This is a house of slavery. And so it's where you're indebted to somebody. So that can also mean debts in our modern parlance as well, such as credit cards and stuff like that. Now, when Saturn moves into a 6th house placement, he also is in what's called the house of sickness. And now Saturn isn't out to get you sick, but Saturn is definitely a taskmaster, and he will make you look really hard at the ways that you may cause your own sickness. This is going to be a transit that starts on March the 7th and lasts until February of 2026. And it also can bring on karmic illnesses that are passing through your system during the time of those years. Now, don't be afraid. For the most part, illnesses that are incurred with the Saturn transit to the 6th house of karmic debt do not last, but you must maybe endure in good spirit. Find your, Lord, give me the whatever, find your prayer, to accept the things I cannot change, right? Give me the whatever. Okay, so I think that's a prayer for alcoholics, but whatever, I don't know where it comes from, but it's a sense that, this too shall pass. Now, you can be very proactive with Saturn moving through your 6th house, and you can start to look at, focusing on being well, looking at your health from the perspective of discipline, serious reality, sober-minded realism. I mean, I can make any example up because the 6th house connects often to ways across the way in the 12th house that we undo our own health. So that can be like drinking too much, smoking too much, causing your own calamity in your body. And so Saturn can be very much like a rehab facilitator here, or trying to smarten you up and get you to figure this thing out. So I always joke about my daughter being a Virgo rising, having some health challenges that definitely had nothing to do with her self-undoing. But I could also use my daughter as an example of somebody who's coming to terms with the fact that maybe she drinks too much when she drinks, her off switch is missing. And that's been one of the lessons that Saturn going through her 6th house has given her, I think anyway, because it was happening for the Virgo rising in the tropical zodiac last time, and now it's happening next for you Libra rising. If you have pets, and Saturn is moving through this house of pets, small animals that you can fit in your home, basically, then it can mean an ailing pet. A pet may come down with an illness, but most often it means an aging pet. And you may have some sense of hardship when it comes to renting property or wanting to lease property. So there's that as well. Or you may decide to do it in a very serious way because you're making realistic decisions. So whatever that might mean to you. Saturn here can also bring new situations into colleague and coworker spaces over the next 3 years, and that could be to do with more constriction or restraint. Saturn can be the boss, but also it could be like somebody in power that's like just a hardship, somebody who's gnarly in your higher up space in your workspace. So there's a possibility of getting some kind of constriction and repression energy in the workspace. And it could even just be a bunch of rules. Like if you have a job and all of a sudden they're going to put all these new rules in place and you're like, oh no, that sucks. So there's just those kinds of things that can happen. At the highest level though, Neptune has been here since 2011. Now this has made you somewhat confused about health issues. And you may have also had health issues that are tied into Neptune themes of escapism, particularly through alcohol and drugs. And when Saturn comes here, he's going to really work it out. He's going to be like, the reality test, the reality check, the one who figures out the solutions, because you got to get darn well realistic, because otherwise you're going to get, sick enough to be really sick. So these kinds of things happen when Saturn is here, but Neptune adds to that a little bit of that story I just told you. You may have been kind of confused or floaty-doty or unsure about some of your health challenges. Neptune here is like, I don't feel good, but no one can find anything wrong with me or whatever. And then what happens is in comes Saturn and we'll figure it all out. We'll get down to the concrete reality of what's actually troubling you, whether that's physical or mental or emotional. All right. Also, the other thing I want to mention here for you guys is that as Saturn's moving through this place, it takes him the entirety of 23 to only go to 7 degrees. In other words, he's going to take, his sweet ass time. So it doesn't affect everybody the same way. And you could make an argument that the early, potentially, because there's an inconjunct from your ascendant in Libra to Saturn, that it will impact the first 10 degrees of Virgo. Libra people more. Okay, Libra people more. But it may not. We'll see. And then, of course, in 2025, it'll impact the middle people, the 10 to 20 degree Libras. And then in 2026 kind of thing, you move it on, 24, 25. Sorry, you get what I mean, right? Oh, my God. 2024 could impact the middle Libras, 10 to 20 degrees. And in 2025, it could impact the last Libras from 20 to 30 degrees or 29 degrees. That's what I'm trying to say. All righty, so let's get going and move up past Saturn and talk about Pluto. Pluto has been in the sign of Aquarius ever since the dog days of 2008. That's a long, long time, right? I'm in Capricorn since the dog days of 2008. That's a long, long time. And he's moving into Aquarius. Sorry, I'm a little bit off my game today because I got it very early. So, I want you to go back to 2008, Libra, and try to remember what was going on in your life since then, to do with property, home, land, real estate, mother, family of origin, ancestral line things, because Pluto has been in that part of your sky since then. And it could be a bit of a deep night, dark night of the soul, last 14 years. Or it could also have been a lot of power and wealth and stories going on in your life around real estate, property, buying, selling, developing, or making money from, getting wealthy on. Also, maybe legacy wealth or inheritances came during this transit, because it can happen with the god of death in one of the legacy wealth houses. You may also have been dealing as a Libra rising sun or moon with some really deep unearthing of secrets to do with your family of origin and your ancestral line when all these secrets came out. I'll give you an example. No, well, I know I'm not going to talk about that example because the person will know who I'm talking about, and that's going to be a confidentiality violation. Is it really? Yeah, it is. I won't say anything. But family secrets emerging during this transit could very well happen over the next, could very well have already happened in those last years. Now we're moving away from that. We're moving into Pluto in your 5th house. I know a lot of Libra risings in particular, because I always say rising sign is more accurate than your sun or moon sign, who have been anxious that this is going to mean the death of their children, because the 5th house is the house of children. Well, I have a lot of clients who've gone through this transit who have not had the death of their children. For instance, that would be all the Virgos who just had Pluto moving through their 5th house, reminding you that Pluto can only move through your 5th house, or anybody's 5th house, once every 248 years, right? So some people in this lifetime will never experience what that might be like. I will give a caveat. I do know Virgos risings who experienced abortion, Pluto in the house of children, or miscarriages during that transit, but it was a long transit, 2008, right, until 2023. Now, I'm not going to worry you, but I'm just telling you that could be a story. There could be more intensity here with your children. That's all, more really intense stories ongoing with those children that you already have. Any child born to you while you have Pluto in your fifth house certainly will be an intense child, especially your firstborn. Second of all, with Pluto in your fifth house, it could also be about wealth. It's a money house. The fifth house is often about speculation, gaming, winning money, etc. It's a money luck house. Pluto is wealth and power. This could really power up for a lot of Libra's money luck. And if you do your own business, your own business enterprise, your own entrepreneurial captain of your own business ship, this is really, really going to power up some wealth, significant wealth that you can attain in that direction. And now, of course, this Pluto transit also, which is happening in March, I should have said the date. Pluto enters into this part of your sky in March the 23rd and does not leave this part of your sky until June 11th, March the 24th to June 11th, and then comes back again, in 2024 and stays until 2044. So there's a long, very long, very long transit. And so in that sense, it's like, I'm telling you a bit about the new energy you're going to experience, like, March, April, May, June, but it's not the full deal. So I should have said that right up front. But I'm giving you the broad brushstrokes. There was a whole deep dive into Pluto and Aquarius in my All Signs playlist for 2023. It's called 2023 Big Transits playlist. Go check that out. These are big transits. I should put that in the description box for this video, all these videos. For the most part, though, if you're not dating someone and you're going to meet somebody under this transit, this is a house of romance and sexuality. And depending what else is going on in your natal chart, and depending on the condition of the ruler of your fifth house, which is Saturn, you could have some very intense love stories. Okay. Some very fatal attraction, obsessive love stories. Now, I've seen that with my Virgo clients who went through this, attracting narcissists, attracting intense, really dramatic love stories to go along with Pluto here. Now, I'm not going to say for the next 20 years, you're only going to attract a narcissist or some kind of Plutonian mafia don, control freak. Of course not. But I'm just saying, be conscious of this intensity in the house of romantic love. Again, your chart is different. It depends on the condition of Venus in your chart. And certainly it depends on the condition of Saturn himself as to whether this will be a hardship or just a kind of minor annoyance. Okay, so we talked about Pluto moving into your fifth house. When there's a lot more detail in my 23-1 Saturn. We talk about Mars next. Mars. They got to change. The god of war. The god of new directions, desire, motivation, choices, war. Did I say war? He's moving out of Gemini. Now, it only matters because he's been there forever. You kind of have a hangover from it already. Libras, this Mars went in there last August 20th into your ninth house of God and leaves on the 26th of March. So this long transit, which bundled in a retrograde in the middle of it all, is a pretty rare event. And so, ninth house can be father and father figures in some traditions, like in India. So you could have had conflict with father figures. This is also the area of the sky that represents your faith in God, your religion. What do you believe? What do you believe? Because this has been tested maybe over these months. Mars here also is in a courts and legal matters place. Did you go to battle? Did you have to fight for something? This is travel to foreign lands and foreign shores. Some of you might have done that. Mars won't mind traveling, especially during the retrograde, which was the October 30th to January 12th, would have indicated potentially a trip to a country other than your birthplace, but one you may have been to before, or backtracking on some legal matters in order to go forward again. So one step back, two steps back, one step forward, or whatever that expression is. Academia, universities belong here. You may have been dealing with fighting to get what you want, fighting to be accepted in a particular school, or just having a lot of hardship in that setting, maybe a gnarly combative professor. It's also, though, a place where Mars in your ninth house is flowing towards the ascendant, or the Libra sun and moon, and he's doing that in a very positive way, which kind of mitigates or eases some of this intensity. And so you may have found that while things were challenging in the ninth house, which it could be a house of what's the meaning of my life or what's my purpose or what's my dharma, that Mars was trying to help you. So you might have felt this as a positive but intense energy over the last few months. Mars leaves here, of course, and moves into your 10th house, and that's going to be about going to bat and going to battle for what you want in your career and workspace environments. But also there can be somebody fired in the workspace, hopefully not you. There can be some kind of arguing and conflict in the workspace. When Mars comes here on the 26th of March, he'll be in your work and career and top of the sky space for 6 weeks. All right. So it's important to know that cooler heads can prevail. You don't have to get embroiled in office politics and conflicts unless you think you want to. I mean, because it could say that you could win in those things as well. But on the other hand, well, Mars is in your 10th house. He is squaring your ascendant. So if you can back off the struggles and conflicts in your workspace, you might be better off. But people being fired or laid off is often in a setting of hierarchical work is often a feature of a Mars transit through the 10th house. It doesn't mean it will be you, by the way. If other people get fired, then okay, Mars can exit and you can move up. Mars can help you exit a career or work or job direction because it's no longer right for you. He is a god of winning, and so he could help you win a new job. But on the other hand, he's in a sign of Cancer, which belongs to the moon, temple of the moon, and he doesn't have dignity here. He's out of dignity. He is what we call fallen. Alrighty. So this could also be a fall of somebody in your workplace. The boss is definitely like in a scandal or gets fired, or you are fallen because the company shuts down or something. I'm just making stuff up, but it looks kind of like that. Or a fall in your reputation through some kind of gnarly conflict that has become public. It doesn't have to be all bad. Okay. I don't want to worry you. Certainly Mars can help you be ambitious, directed, focused, and action taking in career matters. If you hear that sound, there's construction outside my house, and they make this weird sound every day. All right. Mercury and Venus are also changing signs. I mean, March is the month when we have big planet changes, and we have 5 planets changing signs. So it's a big deal energy shift, right? And if anyone can feel it, everyone can, but maybe you can too. Mercury, all right, Mercury, the messenger of the gods, the guy with the text, emails, news, and all the news is fit to print, and also sometimes things to do with stock markets, mercantile, and merchandising. Mercury is moving through Pisces from the 3rd of the month to the 18th. He does not have dignity in Pisces. He is weak here. He is trying to get the details in a foggy ocean bottom or something, in a fog or in the bottom of the ocean. And it's all very hard to see the details or what is exact. So it's not a strong point, but you can't have every planet being superpowered everywhere. And Pisces is your 6th house where Saturn is. So this is a place that Saturn's entering into. And then you add Mercury. This is not a good time to sign a contract for a new job without fine print details being inspected by somebody else. This is not, with Mercury's transit through here, March 3rd to the 18th, not a great time to get a new pet unless you really scrutinize the pet's pedigree and documents, because Mercury certainly can't do that. And if you think you're buying a pedigree Great Dane or something, you might find out you got a Chihuahua when it arrives at the doorstep. You also could have a hard time leasing a property or renting a property, and some kerfuffles there. Again, any contracts involving those things, you need to look at the fine print. Not a great time to ask for a raise. Mercury doesn't communicate as well as he could in a work and job house, so be careful. And lastly, Mercury here may ask you to get blood work and tests done for your health. I mean, because he's the god of like the lab work kind of vibe here. And you may not get the results that are true. Could be, even that could go wrong. So it's a bit of a challenge for all of those things in your 6th house between March the 3rd and the 18th. On the upside, he is joining Saturn and Neptune in this part of the sky. This could open up some kind of new visions, new downloads, new dreamy downloads of ideas that you have around career and work matters, or even downloading a clear bead on how to resolve a health challenge. Like suddenly having an aha moment or a dream that tells you how to fix the problem. Reminds me of Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet, who used to give people health advice in a trance state. So Mercury in a sickness house with Neptune is almost like you could go see a medical medium or psychic intuitive or something and get what you need to know in order to resolve challenges to your health as a Libra rising, in particular Sun and Moon secondarily. Now, moving on, let's talk about March the 19th to April 4th. That is when Mercury moves away from his foggy condition in Pisces and heads into Aries. Aries is your 7th house. This is your marriage house. This is your significant others. This is your business partnerships. This is your audience, client, and marketplace, should those things have any meaning to your career. And Mercury here is not so bad at selling, marketing, and merchandising and getting their message out. So that's positive. Also, you may have news inbound from other people, especially your marriage partner. I mean, the one you're with, your significant, committed, monogamous love story. And so this person may be Mercury. This person may have good news because there's Jupiter there, and we'll be getting into the details of those timing markers. So Jupiter being in your partner's business or love partner 7th house until the middle of May, and this started at the 3rd week of December, is really good for them. Your partner gets good things happening. Your business and love partners get the collateral love from Jupiter moving through your house of marriage or significant partnerships. So Mercury is joining Jupiter here, and Jupiter is, quite capable of sort of making everything bona fide. And so Mercury could be getting into some really exciting marketing and selling for you, or an ability to receive important messages from other people, especially lucky messages and good news, especially maybe from your significant other. Legal contracts and documents can be signed here because, like a marriage vow, anything that requires an agreement, a handshake, a verbal, or even written contract belongs to your 7th house. And therefore, Mercury is here along with Jupiter, which kind of says, yeah, go ahead. This March 19th to April 14th, anything, real estate contracts, maybe buying and selling, job contracts, agreements, these kinds of things might be quite good during Mercury's transit through your 7th house. Certainly, it's a kind of a negotiating, deal-making vibe in the house of others. So you could find that these things are not just sanctioned, but maybe going to do very well. Because when Mercury comes to this part of your sky, Jupiter's not always here. Jupiter won't be back here for 12 years. All right. So this happened once before in 2022 when Jupiter and Mercury met up here, but that was only in the first 8 degrees of Aries. And now this is like swinging along, and the two of them are meeting each other later on. I'll give you the dates. So I guess I'd say this is a nice opportunity to really nail some positive developments with marketing, merchandising, vows and agreements, deal making, and negotiations. All right. Venus is your lord. She's a planet that rules Taurus rising and Libra rising. We can call her the guiding planet, the Lugna lord, the helmsman. So when she does things, you pay attention, especially when she goes into her dignity, meaning her home territory, because she's strong there. And it's what she's going to do in the month of March, as I teased you out on in the beginning of this video. On March the 16th, 17th, depends on where you live, but it's the 16th for a lot of places. Venus is going to move into her home kingdom of Taurus. And her home kingdom of Taurus for you is your 8th house of chunky money. By chunky money, I mean inheritances, tax rebates, loans, investment monies, stock market gains, money from your spouse. Did I say inheritance? Money from business partnerships, passive income, royalty income, derivative incomes, money-making money. It's not your earned money through your own daily work or through the thing that you do. It's certainly not dollars for hours. And so Mercury moving through this part of your chart, Venus moving through this part of your chart can up-level your finances starting on March the 16th, 17th, especially through to April 11th. Before she gets there, she's in Aries, and that's your 7th house. So until the 16th, 17th of the month, she's helping ease your relationship, make it more loving, make the tonal quality of your partner more gentle, kind, and loving. If you have business and love partner in your life, it could be a transit to meet a significant new person that you'd like to commit to pretty quickly in those first 16, 17 days of March. It actually starts on February the 20th, but you're going into March, she'll be rolling into this kind of like Venus loving you up in your 7th house. Now she's at a detriment in Aries. Again, that's not always her strength. She may end up being compromised in how sweet she can make the love as she moves through there. But on the other hand, Venus here can be very Xena warrior princess and kind of masculine, maybe in Mars sign. So you might find you are attracting Venus Martian energy, sort of like athletic or tomboys or aggressive or go-getter women of some sort. Certainly you could call it a type A energy. And if it's female, that's Venus. So a real driven feminine. So that could be kinds of people you're attracting into your world for some reason, new and old, during that window of the first 17 days of March. Oh, I'm having an itchy back. It's so dry here in Vancouver because it's so cold. And I'm putting my heat up to high levels to not freeze. And this is my blue tea. Alrighty, then moving on, we covered it. We're going to get going and talk about the next stuff. I want to say one more thing about Venus moving through your chunky money house that I think I need to mention. It's not an everyday transit because even though she comes through here once a year, it's a rare event that she meets up with the North Node of Fate and also with Uranus, and that's happening this time around. The North Node of Fate is here until mid-July and has been here since last January. So the sense of this being a relatively rare time, given that the North Node of Fate, can't come back to your 8th house for another 18 to 20 years. And because as well, Uranus won't be here for another 184 years. He's here now he's here 2018 through to 26, but she's encountering these more rare factors. That's what I'm trying to say. So you could have a sudden burst of money, a sudden breakout financially, a sudden a financial windfall, because that's Uranus, or a destined and super lucky break in money stories. That's Venus and the North Node. Okay. So that's something special to look forward to. And I will go through the details of the month now and talk about the step-by-step process of several transits to pay attention to. By far, the best one is the beginning of the month when Venus and Jupiter combine in a very auspicious or lucky conjunction. They're going to be coming together. You'll feel it like even around the 27th and 28th, 26th, 27th, 28th of February. It's really peaking out around the 1st and 2nd of March. And Venus, the goddess of luck and beauty and love and money, meeting with another lucky god, the greater benefic, Jupiter, also prosperity, wealth, luck, opportunity, faith, hope, optimism, and expansion, combine their forces together and become as one, called the katazimi. And they do that communal connecting to each other around those early, last couple of days of February and first 2 days of March. They're doing this communing around 12 degrees of the sign of Aries. Yes, of course, Venus is in detriment, but she's still combining with a greater benefic. And therefore, something really good is trying to happen here in your marriage house or in your significant other business partnership house or contracts and legal documents and negotiations house or marketplace for your stuff that you sell to your audience or services you provide, but how you get that stuff out there to share with them, right? This is the 10th house from the 10th house. As well, during this Venus-Jupiter transit, they're definitely leaning into or getting closer to Chiron. I cover this in much greater depth if you want to look at my Venus transit video that's coming out the day after this video, because it should come out on Sunday, February the 19th, because I gave this to my Patreon community ahead of time. But you might ad-free, but you might want to check out that video, because when the Chiron element is here, there's also some profound healing going on in the chart with the Venus-Chiron-Jupiter combination. And to learn more about that, you'll have to go into the other video. But so what is being healed regarding significant relationships in your life, partnerships, business, love, etc., or legal issues that are contractual, having some quality of a healing around a woundedness in this part of your world. March the 6th to 7th, the sun and Uranus will sextile in a flowing and positive way. And then later on, just so you know, then Mercury will do the same thing to Uranus on March 10th and 11th. They may be connected as two parts of one singular story. March 6th and the 7th, this is happening, right, with the sun moving through Pisces, your work and health house, and your work colleague's house and your debt house, and Uranus sitting in Taurus, your chunky money. For some of you, this could look like a sudden ability to pay off a debt, a sudden financial upgrade through your work situation, a sudden financial development that's exciting and really jazzing you up. Don't forget, it's going to start on the 6th and 7th, and it's going to continue to the 10th and the 11th, I think in 2 parts. So it looks exciting, feels good. It feels like good money stories breaking through your sky. Don't forget there's tenancies and leases and renting in in the sixth house as well. And you may be getting some money because you are renting a place or reducing your rent because you found a super cheap rental. Either if you're a landlord or a tenant, it will benefit both sides of that narrative. Venus and Mars do a sextile, which is a flow between the goddess of love and the god of war, also the cosmic lovers. This is going to be also something very positive around the 10th, 11th, and 12th of the month. This is happening around the 23rd degree of the signs of. First of all, let's talk about Aries. Venus a detriment in your 7th house in a sextile, a flow to that long Mars transit through your 9th house. I don't know. It looks like maybe a female approaches you with an opportunity to travel, a positive settlement in a court or legal matter, a directional shift of your meaning of your life and the purpose of your life through the intersection with a female in your business, work, or love life stories. If you're going to meet somebody and you're a single Libra, this is definitely looking like the possibility of meeting somebody because of some travel or adventure, or meeting somebody that may be connected to academia, foreign lands, or book publishing. Then there's a complicated bundle of stories in the middle of the month. It's a lot to go into. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to prop my thing up so I'm not always looking down on the ground here. All right. Hopefully I didn't block a camera. No, I didn't. Did I? Hang on. If I do this, can you guys see it? I just have a board with all this stuff written down. I don't think I'm blocking anything, am I? Let me take a look. No. All right, that's much better. I wish I'd figured that out for all the other videos I've already recorded. So continuing, it's so cold here. I'm bundled up in a hoodie. Oh my God. So the next bundle of stories, it's a complicated but interesting and intense time of the month for all of us. That combines several things going on, really between the 13th of March all the way through to the 20th, really. So let me try to break it down. First of all, there's a Mars square Neptune really picking up steam around the 13th, 14th, and 15th of the month, okay? Mars is a god of combat and conflict, but also in some ways he's cut through things. And Neptune is fog, which can represent illusion or delusion or confusion. And when these two are in square to each other, there's something that's being penetrated. The illusion or confusion is being sliced or cut through, right? Cut through the tension, cut through the illusion, or defog the illusion. So here we have Mars moving through your 9th house. We talked about that. That's the house of your religious beliefs and your temples and your academia and your book publishing world and your father figures, etc. And Mars is getting some Neptune action as he looks over his shoulder back at Neptune in Pisces in your 6th house. You might have to clear your illusions around things to do with karmically indebted relationships, someone you're dating that's not right for you, things to do with debt situations you're beholden to, and Mars is like trying to clear you from that, even to the extent that legal matters, like an example would be Biden's plan to forgive student debt. His 9th house is academia. He's looking back at this confusion in the house of debt because everyone doesn't know if it's going to ever happen. I'm not holding out that hope for that, by the way. It was just an example. And so basically, though, Mars is trying to also get the hell out of your 9th house. And before he does, he's talking to Neptune for the 3rd time since 2020, August. This is his 3rd Neptune story. So it may all be a story that has been ongoing since last August, where you've had some confusion or uncertainty around 6th house matters, including health matters. But then if Mars is going to cut through that fog from the 9th house, it could be because you're going to adopt some wisdom for your health from another country, another culture, another background, like Ayurvedic medicine or something. Guides, advisors, and mentors are 9th house. Mars is up there. So an aggressive, exciting new opportunity to be guided, mentored, or apprentice under somebody energetically that helps you with work situations to help improve your story there. That could also happen. Now, also around the 15th to the 17th, especially on the 16th, there's going to be Mercury in the heart of the sun called a cazimi conjunct Neptune in the heart of the sun. They're all bundled through planets in one space together. Neptune is on the outer edges of the solar system. So of course, he's not really in the heart of the sun, but it means from our perspective on Earth, That's true. It's like you could kind of line them up. There's, the sun and Mercury and Neptune all lined up beside each other. And so this Cazimi energy is really exciting. I'm going to be doing a webinar on it. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe and all the bells for notifications, because or my waiting list, or get on my, newsletter, because when I do these webinars, you'll miss them if you don't know that I'm going to do them. But we're going to do a guided meditation, because what a Cazimi of Mercury does with Neptune is it allows you to perceive non-ordinary reality, to dive below the surface of this world, to have an enlightenment experience, even to transcend or transmute, or to move through something like perceptually, getting the divine messages from beyond, or from your deep soul, from your own true self. And this is all happening while Mercury's clearing up the illusion at the same time. So you're getting deeper, real insights, but they're also still Neptunian, which means like enlightenmenty or dreamy or inspired or creative or deeply artistic. And when this is all happening, of course, this triple conjunction is in your 6th house, right? Because we're in the zone of Pisces. So I'm not too sure if that's going to be maybe some kind of download or image or vision about something you want to work on in your career, or something to do with your debt or your animals or whatever, but it is there. And you may even clear some karmic debts out through a shamanic type trance. I would suggest it's a good idea. And then all of that kind of Cazimis, all of that Cazimi kind of sextiles Pluto, especially closer to the 19th and 20th. So it's really Mercury Sun kind of moving into that sextile to Pluto at the 29th anaretic degree of the sign of Capricorn and the sign of Pisces. So as we move closer to the 2019, 2021, we end up seeing this kind of movement, not Neptune, but the Sun and Mercury, into this flow with Pluto, the god of power and wealth and intensity and transformation. And that's in your 4th house, right? Where he's going to be until March the 20, I'm having a moment 4th. So before he leaves, there's some final showdown or intense story going on with mother figures, home life, domestic private life, real estate property, things to do with your own ancestral line stories, etc. This looks like it could really impact you, to do with work and home stories, working from home, working away from home, or moving or buying or renting or selling property. And then getting to the last few items, we got 4 more to go. Hang in there. Venus will sextile Saturn. That's a very enduring love, lasting money, safe money, whatever, realistic money, but good money story around the 18th of March. Venus is very benevolent and sextiling Saturn, and she likes Saturn. They don't dislike each other at all, but she's already moved into the sign of her home territory, which is positive. She's strong and capable and able in your 8th house of chunky money to give you some lasting money results, with Saturn going, we love this. This is perfect. What are you doing? Are you leasing a property? Are you renting a property, selling a property even? I am not sure. You also could have lasting money results because of things to do with inheritances, tax rebates. Guys, I keep saying all the same 8th house meanings. If you check out my description box, I have a PDF on the meanings of the 12 houses. Now, the other thing I want you to consider here is that you also could, with this particular combination, just possibly anyway, receive some kind of windfall that is not through some of the things I've mentioned, because the 6th house is who owes you money and who do you owe money to. Sorry, I had to get off. My sweatpants are so hot now. I'm having a sweat. What she's doing is trying to get her sweatpants off. Okay, I have leggings underneath them. It's kind of like, the 6th house is kind of like the debts you owe to others and they owe to you, karmic indebtedness. And sometimes this kind of transit looks really sweet for something like a long-standing debt, like Saturn, Venus in the chunky money house, being paid back. All of a sudden that loan that you made to a friend years ago, it comes back to you, or that favor you did for a friend comes back to you, and it results in financial goodness for you. That's just one cool way it can happen. Around March 18th, circle your calendar for money bonanza points on the game board of life. Of course, the 18th, give her a few, maybe 2 or 3 days before and a couple of days after. Alrighty. Next, we are going to talk about the end of the month, 3 items. March the 28th, It's a nice month, give or take a couple of days. Why is it such a good time? Well, because Mercury, the messenger and mercantile, is going to conjunct Jupiter, the god of luck. The two of them are coming together in Aries. What kind of luck is befalling your business partner or your marriage partner? It's not always about you. Or what kind of contract, lucky break agreement are you negotiating? Or what kind of thing are you sharing with the world as a marketing, merchandising, and selling kind of thing to your fans, audience, or clients? And this is going to go big because of the Jupiter energy. And again, this is March the 28th. And you can always do this proactively. Like if you were launching something online, I might grab that Jupiter, Mercury in my seventh house. You also could use this transit to have a really positive conversation with anybody, the daunting conversations even, because it's combative energy, because it's Martian energy, it's Mars's house, but Mars is sextiling his own house, right? No, he's gone by then. He's squaring it. Nix that comment. But nonetheless, it still could be how to have some verbal dialoguing communications with others in a positive and uplifting, joyful, hopeful, and a good way. That's all. Or they may have those conversations with you. March the 30th to March the 31st, and then give or take a day or two on either side or so, Venus is going to come into direct contact with Uranus. That's called the conjunction, and it's in her own sign of Taurus. It's going to happen at 16 degrees of Taurus. So if you have any planets in your 8th house, whole sign house, at 16 degrees of Taurus, you bundle in the meaning of that planet to this transit too. If you ask me in the comments, what's it mean when Venus does this with my planet? I can't tell you that. I'd have to see your whole chart and what condition everybody else is in and what relationships they have to each other, what time lord age you're in. So yeah, I can't give you kind of personal advice like that. You know, you can come for a reading, but I'm all booked out. You can't see me now till September. I'm going to have to create a wait list. But yeah, the Venus conjunction is surprise. Around money and love. It's excitement around money and love. It's exhilarating stuff around money and love. Venus conjunct Neptune, Uranus in your 8th house could be a secret love or a love secret that shocks you, but it needs to come out because Venus in dignity knows it's good for everyone. Also, Venus conjunct Uranus here could be about an unexpected financial windfall of some sort. That's basically what can happen. And, you know, later on with Jupiter going into this part of your sky, that looks very inheritancy for most Libras, okay, mid-May of this year to next year, or some kind of bequeathment or some kind of, you know, money coming from somewhere big during that time. We finished the month on March the 31st with a Mars trine Saturn. Mars is moving through the sign of Cancer, and I apologize for that, and he's flowing to the sign of Saturn. To Saturn. If it happens one more time, I'll get to the let me figure out where that is. Turn it off, Lori. I thought I had it off. I thought I had it off. Notifications. I wish there was like a shortcut. I bet you there is to get this stuff off. There we go. Off. So Mars moving through Cancer. He just enters Cancer, right? And he's already there now, March 31st. And he's going to trine, look back over his shoulder and trine Saturn. These guys are just barely into Cancer, just barely into the sign of Pisces. So this energy is kind of going to open up a new kind of portal of hard work, discipline, perseverance, focus, drive, ambition. These are Mars trine Saturn energies, okay? Getting shit done, like just do it, but on steroids. And this is happening with the Mars energy coming from Cancer, which is your career and ambition house, that I already kind of noted this could lead to people being fired. But with Saturn trining the situation from the house of work, if someone does get fired or the company collapses, I'm just making stuff up, it's going to work in your behalf because something better will come out of it. But otherwise, if none of that makes any sense and you're just working really hard, there's a lot of hard work and focusing and grinding. Hard work is happening in the work house, as it works with a driven and passionate and forward momentum in your 10th house, the very visible planet time. Like, I mean, Mars at the top of the sky means things are going on in the workspace for you that could make your actions and choices quite public or visible to people around you as well. Lastly, Juno, the goddess, I want to just tie it in with the goddess of commitment and marriage, is moving from March the 11th already until May the 2nd, right, in one chunk of your real estate. And that ties into where Saturn will be. This is good for contracts and negotiations and agreements and vows to do with work, debts, And even to the point where someone you're dating at any time during this thing could become a committed love relationship really, really quickly. Saturn in the sixth house can mean the beginning of dating somebody with a significant age difference, 7 years, 6 years up or above or below you. That's it, Libra. I do hope that was useful. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to hit my like button. Please subscribe. Check my channel under the title. It's called the description box for all the things I'm going to be offering. You might want to get on my newsletter if you're still listening. The reason is because then you're on, you get all these early bird discounts and contests and notices that nobody else gets unless they're on the newsletter. And the other place where those perks, weekly newsletter forecast, those perks are also available, different kinds of perks on my Patreon community. All right, thanks guys. I'll see you in the next video. Check it out. Check out whatever I'm doing. I think I'm posting about 30 videos a month. All right, bye-bye.